commentary.
Don't miss
what the world is watching.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Tonight we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, Juneteenth edition, June the 19th, 2023. Koofy on tight all day because I thought I had the day off. Apparently I didn't. I got called in at 10 o'clock. I should have been there at 8. So, it is what it is. It was pretty smooth. Anyway. We're going to talk about Raw, which is another, my God, this show, it's NyQuil. It's visual NyQuil. This show is not good. Still ain't good. We're going to try to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to try to take a couple of takes that I saw on the internet and discuss those in addition to Monday Night Raw in order to make this thing a little bit more interesting for myself. So you won't just hear me sit here and talk about on and on and on about the show that you've already watched. And I'm still going to go blow by blow and, do the review for people who didn't watch it. But we're going to add in a little something for people who hey, I already let's watch the show. What else are you going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Rhea Ripley picture. We're going to talk about that too, because somebody absolutely lost their mind when Corey Graves mentioned it on commentary. So when we get there, we'll talk about it. All right. We start with Seth Rollins getting jumped by Finn Balor. A tremendous beating. Seth gets attacked from behind as he comes out for the open challenge. He fights back a little bit, and then Balor took him out. He let the officials pull him back a little bit. Then he jumped off the stairs with the first coup de grace. That was great. He escaped again, got another one off the top of the announce table. That was also great. And then he ran and did a third off the stairs. I like that they're doing the coup de grace off of different platforms. I mean, it is still just a running double stomp, which I think has been holding Finn Balor back, is that his finish is a double stomp from the top rope. Yes, if a guy jumps from the top rope onto you, that sucks as a finish. It hurts. But it's just a really weird finisher for like a main event guy. Like a main event guy should have like a real finish, Anyway, this was a really good beatdown. They really sold it well. It told a good story in terms of Finn Balor saying he'd been waiting 7 years for this, to get his hands on Seth Rollins. And he also beat him up backstage. He attacked him backstage too. So he's really violent and he's in a mood on this evening. He's in a mood. He's in a big mood. So, Judgment Day was all throughout the show as usual, which is the usual for Judgment Day. Finn Balor had a promo during this part, the Judgment Day's portion, where he says he wanted to be the one to take the title from Seth Rollins, so he canceled that open challenge, and he knows that the open challenge won't happen. And he was hoping that the Braun Breaker match wouldn't happen either. So he wanted to be the one to take the title. And since people love singing Seth Rollins' song, they can sing it at his funeral. I think that was a really good line. That was a solid one. Later, Braun Breaker actually makes an appearance to cut a promo in which he says that he hopes that Seth Rollins doesn't use this attack as an excuse to duck him at NXT. And that if you think what Finn Balor did to him was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. Then he said that he hopes the doctors diagnose Seth Rollins with some courage in order to get him in the ring at NXT. Now, right before the main event, Seth Rollins said that doctors be damned. He will be wrestling Braun Breaker in NXT for the title. And so, okay. This was all very solid stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed the Seth Rollins portion of this. Sure, we didn't get the advertised open challenge, which sucks because, hey, we did. A lot of people had their minds set on that. It's like when they do the old bait and switch, which I cannot stand. I know cards subject to change, but I hate the bait and switch because it's like when you had something in the refrigerator and you're about to eat it, and you just had your mind, you've been thinking about it all day, and then you get home and somebody else then took it, or you get home and it's spoiled, or just, little things happen. All kinds of shit happens. And that's kind of how it happened here for me. Because I was just interested in who they was going to have answer the open challenge. And there was a lot of options that was floating about. There was a lot of people with the Logan Paul stuff and the Johnny Gargano stuff. So it was a lot of intrigue. It was no doubt in my mind that Seth Rollins was going to win that match. But you teased it all week, and then you didn't deliver it. So it is what it is, but at least they canceled it for good reason. They instead of a useless match that you knew Seth was going to win, they canceled it and instead went with putting some heat on Balor and Rollins, which I prefer. I honestly do prefer that over who's going to open the open challenge, because it's like, who cares? Seth Rollins is going to win. At least now we see that Finn is taking this very seriously. He's exceptionally miserable about this Seth Rollins thing, and he's gonna handle this. So at one point I was actually thinking, like, might not be too bad to put the strap on Balor. It's not the best idea, obviously, because Rollins just won it and this is his first real feud outside of it, but it wouldn't be too bad, if he did win it, right? Then I thought about it and I was like, nah, it's probably not a good idea. I guess I'm trying to hold on to the last strands of hope that Finn Balor could be something in WWE, but I need to let that go, right? So we're gonna, before we go into the first match, we're just gonna finish the Judgment Day business, because Judgment Day, of course, starts fights and then promptly loses them. So Judgment Day starts the show. Rhea Ripley, of course, claimed that everybody's going to win their match at Money in the Bank. Then Dominic Mysterio challenged Cody Rhodes to a 6-man tag, which, of course, Cody accepted. So throughout the evening, we got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn is asked about the bloodline, which is the one time where it makes sense if we would have asked him about it. Kevin Owens is blowing up. He's tired of talking about the bloodline, which he should, but he's acting like a jealous girlfriend right now. And Sami Zayn says that Kevin Owens is a rageaholic, and then says that if he can hold it together all night, he will drop the whole rageaholic thing. But if he blows up, if he loses his temper, he has to admit that he's a rageaholic. So now the rest of the night is these two guys bumping into random people, like a guy spilling water on Kevin Owens, Ludwig Kaiser getting in his face, Matt Riddle asking him dumb questions about movies. It was pretty entertaining. I can't hold you up. I actually liked that they kept escalating it. And Kevin Owens throughout the show saying that he doesn't have a rage problem, he has an idiot problem, which is legit. Like, of all things, like, I don't blame him, because when it's one thing for a guy to spill water on you. It's it's another thing completely when you have to deal with Matt Riddle. That's just plain insanity. And then it's another thing when you have to deal with like Ludwig Kaiser. He's being, very pompous and a bit of a douche. So it makes sense. When they of course accepted Cody's partnership, because he sent them a text apparently. This was before Akira Tozawa, who also was bleach blonde, accepted Cody's partnership. He wanted to help Cody. And a part of me wanted that to happen. I wanted something interesting to happen. So I was like, maybe Cody, Akira Tozawa, and who else? I don't know. But I figured that, for starters, it would have been dumb for Akira Tozawa to be part of it. But if he was just going to get body slammed by Rhea Ripley or something like that anyway. But Kevin Owens almost blew up because he thought Akira Tozawa was going to get a spot, but of course not. Now, the main event started at 10:35, so it was a lengthy main event. Oh my good God. Lengthy. Of course, Cody and his team win. They pin Damian Priest, who is always the guy taking pinfalls in these matches. Oh boy. Anyway, Judgment Day started the fight. They lost it. Not a surprise. It's been going on for 4 months, maybe even longer, where Judgment Day picks a fight with somebody and they just lose. So it is what it is. But Dominic Mysterio was still great. He's still getting awesome reactions. Rhea Ripley still doing her thing too. Still getting great reactions. Just the Judgment Day as a totality is not working out. Even though they got the cool aesthetic and each individual person in Judgment Day has a tremendous amount of potential for the future, it's just that as heels, they're just being ping pong balls. They're just getting bounced all over the place, and that's really all they're good for in terms of WWE TV, is getting bounced around. We'll finish this whole thing with Rhea Ripley in a few minutes. So after the attacks on Seth Rollins, The Miz came out. The Miz then said that he planned to answer Seth Rollins' open challenge. But since Seth is down, he's going to issue an open challenge of his own. So this is answered by Tommaso Champa, who has not been in WWE in 9 months. Apparently he was injured. I think it was a neck thing, wasn't it? The Miz is incredibly happy because, and I was concerned about why he was happy. And then this is the beautiful thing about effective commentary, is they were partners back when Vince was doing his thing and he was trying to help Ciampa get over. The Miz was his quote unquote mentor. So Miz was excited that Ciampa was back and was waiting for him with open arms, and then Ciampa just blasted him and then just commenced to beating the tar out of the Miz. And then they ended up having a back and forth match that probably went too long, and Ciampa wins with the fairy tale ending. Fine. Ciampa is small, but he is shredded. He looks great. They did a social media promo where he talked about all the time he missed. The 9 months. He has 275 days to think about all the things he did wrong. And he said that if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself. But he also cut this really passionate promo about all the things that he has yet to do, that he wants to do, that he wants to be the world champion, that he wants to main event WrestleMania, he wants to be the top star on Raw, he wants to be the top star on SmackDown, he wants to be the man, he wants to be the guy, because he is that damn good on the mic and in the ring. And it's crazy. Like, Ciampa is one of those little guys that if you let him do him, with how he looks and everything, you would forget that he was little. Unless you did the ye old staring at somebody spots where, you do the face off and you notice that Ciampa is like 5'5", you would forget that he was small. He's shredded. He's intense. He reminds me a lot of Chris Benoit. If there's going to be a short guy who's going to end up getting pushed to the top of the card, it would probably be Tommaso Ciampa for me. That's who I would choose. Unfortunately, he's got serious neck issues, and he's got that. I've been talking about these guys running around with all that gray in their beard. They got him doing that too. It's like, color his beard. We don't even know how old he is. And if you're going to push him, you need to do it quickly, because I know he's in his mid-30s and he's been wrestling for years and years, and he's got this chronic neck thing. And I'm guessing guess that DIY, which is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, are going to end up being the two guys who probably take the tag team titles off of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They'll be the next generation's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as they start feuding with each other, probably for the next 2 or 3 years or whatever. I'm not exactly okay with that, but they have history. They've had entertaining matches. I like Ciampa. I don't like Gargano. I like Ciampa. I don't like Gargano. If they want to keep him as a single, Ciampa as an opponent for Gunther rules. That's money right there. Gunther works very well with smaller guys, And the more intense the small guy, the better. If you can't get Dragunov because maybe he's still in NXT, or maybe you want to put him in Imperium or whatever, then Ciampa is perfect right there. He just has a lot of potential in terms of his passion, in terms of his look, in terms of his intensity. He's just goddamn short. And that's, at least he has muscles, for Christ's sake. He has definition. But my God, the fucking guy is short. Sheesh. Next, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green are defeated by Kacy Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. This match was short and stupid. But there was a segment of TikTok videos that featured Chelsea Green being an absolute psychopath. And this was one of my favorite moments of the show. It was just like a random collection of TikToks, but it was Chelsea Green acting a fool in like a Starbucks or something like that. It was Chelsea Green acting crazy in the gym, acting crazy in traffic, just her being a psycho everywhere, trying to attack people, while at the same time doing do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Don't make me call the manager. It's like she's mixing the current gimmick, the sort of crazy Karen gimmick, mixing it with what she was doing with Impact. It's like she likes being the crazy bitch, right? And that's like one of the things that she really enjoys doing for some reason. And she's kind of leaning into that a little bit right now. So she's becoming the star of this team. She didn't even take the pin in this match. Sonya Deville got pinned. I don't even think Chelsea Green even got in the ring. But it was an interesting usage of Chelsea Green's character. Like, she's really good at her character work. She has been, probably top 2 or 3 in terms of Triple H rehires that have made sense and probably may make him some money. And it's really unlikely because you'd have thought she would have been near the bottom somewhere. But if you let Chelsea Green do this stuff, where every week she's essentially a psychotic Karen, she's going to end up getting over. And it's going to end up really becoming a big deal. Now, in terms of her being world champion and all that kind of stuff, who knows? But this gimmick has a lot of potential. And as long as they keep doing fun stuff with it, then it got the opportunity to run for a really long time. I really liked the TikTok videos that they did for Chelsea Green. It was very creative too. Because she didn't expect, for the videos to be up there. So she kind of denied it was her. Said, that's not me. So I guess they're just going to keep compiling these TikToks of her acting up in public. And it works. It works for the gimmick. It was great. All right, we wasted more of our time with Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander versus Indus Sher. Again, McCoofy was on tight. Not a good look from a Juneteenth. There are some people who are, these are how you treat the black people on Juneteenth? No, they should win fucking world titles, I guess. We should just have Cedric Alexander pin Seth Rollins because it's Juneteenth. Get the fuck out of here, please. Quit being an idiot. This is the same thing they would have done with him 2 weeks ago. They did do this to them 2 weeks ago. They whooped their ass 2 weeks ago, so they whooped their ass again today. It just so happened to be Juneteenth. You're overthinking it. Logan Paul. So Logan Paul comes in, he cuts a promo. Says that the best people in the world come from Cleveland, and that when he thinks about Cleveland, he thinks about all the moments that made him great. And he said leaving made him great, and they booed. Of course, the crowd booed. And he said, well, I don't know why you're booing, because me leaving allowed me to chase my dreams in Hollywood. Then he says that he's one of the best people that Cleveland has. Then said that Cleveland is the home of losers. And he talked about his brother losing his fight, him losing to Seth Rollins, The Miz losing. And he says the Browns are losers. But he says that all stops tonight because he called the executives and he's got a special invitation to the Money in the Bank. And then he says that once he wins the world title, after winning Money in the Bank, he's going to return to Cleveland a world champion to show these people that success is possible. We then get all of the usual characters come out. Ricochet came out, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight. All these guys came out with microphones. Only LA Knight mattered. He got a huge reaction. He cut a really good promo on Logan Paul. Said that he made videos for 14-year-old girls. Then he broke out a map and said that he got a map. Follow this map and he can find right where you can shove all those empty cans of Prime. Which was great. It was fantastic. Everybody else pretty much cut a generic babyface promo. People were not mad enough that he was just inserted into this match. They were just kind of like, oh, well, I'm still going to win. And it's like, what? Nobody's offended. Nobody's pissed off. Like, that's the kind of thing that if you were writing the story appropriately, that's something that everybody should react to. Everybody should be like, whoa. I had to qualify and this guy doesn't. That's some bullshit. Why is this happening? That should have been what everybody says. I know Nakamura is the only one who says, I care about money and bank. And I'm like, what? What the hell are you talking about? Oh, boy. Butch didn't talk at all. He just walked out there and punched Logan Paul in the head. Then we had the big brawl scene where Logan Paul jumped on everybody over the top rope. Then he posed with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Then they did a promo. They did a promo on the internet, so Twitter, social media, whatever. And in the said promo, he mentioned that he doesn't like doing things the traditional way. So he's going to take the shortcut and use his privilege, I guess you could say, to get put in the Money in the Bank match, and so he can win and become a world champion. So he can add a WWE championship to his resume. And for some reason, people didn't get this. They didn't get that him being inserted into the match was a source of heat. They didn't get it. So I'm not going to name the YouTuber. He's pretty famous. He says, this is exactly what I envisioned it. WWE spent weeks making people compete to qualify for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Logan Paul just gets at it by asking for it? What a way to make everyone look like geeks. Then he says, and those other dweebs spent weeks competing for it when all they had to do was ask to be in it. What a way to bury the other competitors. Well, that's not exactly how it works. There's a thing called stars get treated differently. Some people can declare to be in the Royal Rumble. Other people have to fight to get in. We just accept that. There are no equals. There is no such thing as equality. All right. Everybody's going to get in how they get in. The Austin Theory thing, the Brock Lesnar thing, it's all the same shit. It's all supposed to make you not like the guy who's being privileged. That's the entire point. How do you not get that? That's simple storytelling that WWE has used numerous times when it comes to the Money in the Bank. Either they add somebody at the last minute, or somebody slides in because they didn't have to work as hard as everybody else. And that's the person that you're supposed to be like, oh, I can't believe this guy. Brock comes in at the last minute and wins. Everybody is pissed because he wasn't even supposed to be in it. And then he goes and has like the Brock party with the boombox and everybody's like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Austin Theory is announced for the Money in the Bank literally seconds before the match starts. And everybody's like, oh, what the hell? It's a cheap way to get heat. And it's effective. That's why they keep doing it. Because everybody has this same reaction. Oh, it's not fair. It's like, that's the point. That's like, you can't do old school heat anymore when it comes to pulling the tights and people complain. People don't complain if you pull the tights anymore. People don't complain if you throw salt in somebody's eyes anymore. People are too smart for that. So another solid way of getting heat is by absolutely just breaking the rules, breaking the internal rules of the show. Now, there's issues with that in terms of people just don't respect the rules anymore. But at the same time, by doing so, you can create legitimate anger and dislike within the audience. Now people are definitely going to be like, I don't want Logan Paul to win. Not just because I don't like Logan Paul, but because Logan Paul didn't work for it. So he comes across as being very entitled because he can make phone calls and get put in there. That's the point, you know. I think that people should just get over those kinds of things and just accept that this is how WWE chooses to put heat on certain people because it's smart. Like if Logan Paul had to wrestle somebody and win, then people would complain that Logan Paul is beating up on the wrestlers and he's a part-timer and all this kind of stuff. Why is she beating up on the wrestlers? Why is this happening? It's like, well, we could have put Cedric Alexander in there with Logan Paul and then had Logan Paul squash him. You know, if that's what you would have preferred. You know, like if you would have preferred some other measure of doing this, we could have done that too. But I wasn't really tripping on Logan Paul being put on the match anyway. I kind of, look, the match needed the star power. It needed that star power. So Logan Paul he's a star to the youngins, and he's never done this before. So this is new, and this is going to be a big draw for the show, is that Logan Paul is going to be in a ladder match. What is he going to do? We've seen what he can do in singles matches. We've seen what he can do in tags. We've seen what he can do in main events. Now this is a new environment, something he's never done before, and it's interesting, you know. Do you still have Logan Paul go over? No, I think you stick with LA Knight. But the meltdown that could happen if Logan Paul did win might be worth it. I'm thinking about the tears, you know, the River Nile, if it comes to Logan Paul winning that Money in the Bank and LA Knight doesn't get it. But since we're on the Money in the Bank, there was a Money in the Bank qualifier because Logan Paul can make a phone call, but apparently Trish Stratus can't. So Trish Stratus has to qualify like everybody else. And her opponent is Raquel Rodriguez. Now, Raquel was offended by what happened between Natalya and Rhea Ripley. What happened? I'm so glad you asked. Natalya cut a promo before her match with Rhea Ripley, where she says that Night of Champions rocked her to her core, and she's been trying to figure out where she fits in this new women's division. And she says that this is her second chance to prove that she still belongs. So then she waddles her ass out there and just gets mollywopped again. Oh my goodness. Look, as much joy as this gave me watching Natalya get beat up from pillar to post, I don't even want to see this. You know? I don't even want to see Natalya get beat up anymore. That doesn't even bring me joy. Like, it doesn't make me happy to see Natalya get beat up anymore. It's like I've plateaued on that. I've been watching Natalya get beat up for a decade. You know? Been watching Natalya get her ass kicked for a really, really long time. It don't move me anymore. I'm hoping that Natalya has saved nickels and dimes so she can go buy stock in NWA or something. I just hope that she can go do something constructive with her life that doesn't involve her being in WWE, let alone on my television. You want to make her a trainer or a producer or something like that? Good. Thumbs up. You want to make her the most wanted treasures hunter or whatever? Good. I don't have to watch that. But having her on Monday Night Raw is a detriment to Monday Night Raw. Seeing Natalya on television, it makes me want to stress eat. You know, like it's that weird. I don't want her around. We don't need her. We have outgrown the need for Natalya. All right. Put her in a home or something for washed up wrestlers. You know, washed up wrestlers retirement center. Just put her in there, get her a juicy juice, and just relax. We're done here, okay? Call it a day. Anyway, Raquel Rodriguez was offended by this sight, and she was not happy at Rhea Ripley taking liberties with Natalya. And she said, look, what's going on here? It's not okay. And that whenever somebody says, it's not okay, you know, they're using, that's woke speech. Anyway, she said she's gonna win the Money in the Bank, cash in on Rhea Ripley, to remind Rhea Ripley that she's not the biggest or the baddest around there. Rhea Ripley overheard that because she came through the curtain just as Raquel was standing there talking. And they stood eye to eye. And Raquel told Rhea Ripley, "You're not ready for Raquel Rodriguez." And I was like, dun, 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 dun. Okie dokie. This is good. For starters, Rhea Ripley is finally feuding with a woman, and not Natalya, who is basically a cat person. She's a human kitty litter. Human kitty litter. Anyway, so Raquel goes out there to have this match with Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is with, of course, Zoe Stark. And this match was really fun. I have been enjoying the Trish Stratus performances. I was very weird by the fact that Trish Stratus would have to qualify instead of just giving her the spot. Like, she could have used the heat of having a privileged position too. But instead, they decided to go by putting her in a different way. Like, they didn't want to just pick two people and say, you both have these privileges. Instead, they made Trish earn it, quote unquote. But really, she didn't really earn it because she won by disqualification. So the match itself, though, was fun. They did the China Marlena spot where Raquel just started ragdolling Trish Stratus, and that was very well done. Raquel physically imposing, just body slamming Trish pretty hard. The lariat was excellent. What a spot. It was a tremendous spot. Really did a good job of putting Raquel over as being sort of a unstoppable monster because there was nothing Trish could do. Even Zoe Stark trying to interfere didn't really do much of anything to help Trish in this scenario as she was being dismantled by Raquel Rodriguez. So it was very strong. Then Becky Lynch came out there. Becky Lynch distracted, everybody. She was fighting with Zoe Stark, and then Trish got involved and she hit Trish. And then this led to disqualification. So at this point, Becky Lynch screwed over Raquel Rodriguez, and Raquel is out. Trish is in, and they spent a little bit of time in the ring with Becky and Raquel talking, yelling at each other, where, Becky Lynch was like, kind of taking responsibility for screwing up Raquel's, opportunity here. But they didn't have Raquel beat her ass or anything like that, which, maybe because they're not trying to turn her heel. So later, Becky Lynch says she screwed herself by helping Trish win. And she's like, wait a minute, maybe I didn't, because now I have Trish Stratus in a match with weapons, with a ladder. And then she starts going through how all of the various people in the match are her enemies, except Zelina Vega, which she says they don't really get along, but she doesn't consider her an enemy like Zoe Stark or Trish or Bayley and Io Sky, etc. So she's gonna either overcome it all or she's going to burn it all down or something to that effect. So the women's Money in the Bank is made much stronger by Trish Stratus being in it. They definitely needed the star power in that match. For Christ's sake, they needed Trish to be in that match. Thank you, Trish. Thank you very much. Raquel doesn't need to win the Money in the Bank to challenge Rhea Ripley for the title, so that was fine. And she didn't get beat by pinfall, so that worked. So all of this worked out great. Rhea Ripley destroys Natalya. Raquel looks very strong against Trish, but loses in a cheap way. Zoe Stark got beat up by Becky Lynch, so whatever. So it all worked out great. Now, during the Natalya Rhea Ripley match, I shouldn't even call it a match because it wasn't a match. It never got started. But during Rhea Ripley's entrance, they were talking, Corey Graves mentioned the Instagram story that somebody had sent Rhea Ripley, apparently, where it looked like one of those pictures where she's got her tongue out. And somebody spilled what it looks like coffee all over this picture. And when you look at the picture and it's clear what they were going for. They were going for like cum stains all over her face. And she posted this on her Instagram story, and for some reason over the weekend, people could not stop talking about this. They could not stop talking about Rhea Ripley reposting this cum photo, this cum stain photo. Eventually, she ended up taking it down, I guess, but it was up for quite a while, and people were spazzing out like she's not an adult. I don't know, like, this would be a big deal if she was a minor or something like that, but she's an adult. So what? But the height of insanity happened during this, I guess, beatdown segment when Natalya is getting, boots firmly pushed up her ass. Some weirdo online says, quote, a woman wrestler was sexually harassed. Then her male co-worker used it as a punchline on national television. That sums up the state of this industry and community. She was sexually harassed. Somebody made a joke about it. How dare you have a sense of humor? She was sexually harassed. Somebody called Mariska Hargitay, for Christ's sake. Somebody get Benson on this. Get Benson and Stabler to find out who spilled coffee over a picture of Rhea Ripley and then sent it to her to make it look like cum stains. You think she's going to spend more than 2 seconds on that shit? She's not spending no time at all on this. It's odd to me that these simps have decided that they're going to tie on the cape regardless of whether the woman wants you to or not. That's what you get with the patriarchy, right? When you feel like you need to protect women, even when the women don't need protecting, even when she posted it herself on her account, we don't need you taking up the goddamn cape and running about letting it flap in the wind because you are apparently offended. I don't know. Are you offended on her behalf? Why are you more offended about this than she was? I don't get it. It's stupid to me. And the amount of people who ended up agreeing with this guy, which is always the thing that bothers me, it's not really that people think stupid things. It's how many people agree with the stupid thing. That really, I think it was like 2,000 likes or something like this. For this dramatic, over-the-top, cape simp shit. And people are like, oh, you're right. It never should have been mentioned on television. It's like, so what? She deleted it. By the time this thing had happened, it had already been deleted. Anybody who knows what Corey Graves is talking about has already seen it. There's nothing more to be said, really. It's not like he called her a cum dumpster or, a little slut or something like that. It's not like he said anything that would have been like outwardly disrespectful or something that would be like sexual harassment. Like, come over here and sit on my lap, mommy. You can only be my mommy if you let me in. I'm not going to say that. But, fans are just nutty, and I wish they would stop. We definitely need to have a moratorium on people being drama queens online. It's not necessary. It's not cool. It makes you look like not only a simp, but a lame, that you can't take a joke. What kind of person can't take a joke? She can even take a joke. She knew what she was looking at when she looked at that picture. She could have posted it and said, please don't send me stuff like this. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. It bothers me. She didn't. She reposted it and then left it up for hours. So knowing people was going to talk about it, people was doing nothing but talking about it. Then she was like, okay, I did enough. And she took it down. It's like, there's 100 different ways to handle this. And you chose to act like Rhea Ripley is your daughter. It's like, not every woman is your daughter. She's not your sister and she's not your mom. She's not related to you. Why do you care? It was somebody posted a picture online. Get over it. That would have been nice if people could just get over things, but unfortunately, they can't. let's move on very quickly. Alpha Academy were defeated by the Viking Raiders, which, I didn't care about this, not one iota. I did, however, like the skit between Chad Gable as he showed Maxine Dupree a suplex. And it was nice. So they recognized that she surprised Valhalla last week with the arm drag. But this week she's going to be ready. So you got to do something a little bit more complicated. So she taught her how to do a suplex. So in the match, that's what you're waiting for. You're waiting for Maxine Dupree and Valhalla to get into it. So Maxine can do this suplex. So eventually it happens, and Maxine pulls Valhalla off the ropes. I think she maybe even threw a forearm shiver, and then she did the suplex. The suplex got a huge reaction. This is a basic vertical suplex, which goes to show, again, if you do proper storytelling and you got engaging characters, a regular vertical suplex will get over. So, huge pop on the vertical suplex on Valhalla. But the distraction of it all led to the Viking Raiders winning. So, okay, this was fine. We're building up slowly to the Maxine Dupree having her first match. I agree with some of my subscribers who think that Maxine Dupree shouldn't wrestle. I agree. I think that we need valets and managers and coaches, etc. in wrestling. They don't all need to be wrestlers. The idea that every woman needs to be a wrestler is foolish. There should be as many jobs. I hate to say it because I'm sounding like a feminist, but there should be as many jobs as there are for men. If she was good at talking, she was good enough for play-by-play, I would have her replace Kevin Patrick, who sucks through a car muffler. He sucks that much. Or if she could, do really good on stage, banter back and forth, she might be like the female Mean Gene Okerlund or something like that. She doesn't need to be a wrestler, but WWE, they just insist that every woman who they hire either has to hold a microphone or be a wrestler. It's like, how about no? Like, you got the really good wrestling ring announcers. So the Alicia Tyler on NXT, the young lady on Monday Night Raw, she's very good as well. Why can't we have valets and managers and stuff? Why must they be wrestlers? They don't have to be. Anyway, huge reaction for a suplex. This was otherwise absolutely dreadful. Matt Riddle defeated Ludwig Kaiser. It was a solid enough match. After the match, Riddle was attacked by Gunther and Kaiser, where Gunther attacked the leg of Matt Riddle. You think that he hit him in the leg with like a cinder block or a metal bat or something like that. The way Riddle started selling the leg. He's selling like he couldn't walk. Like, man, Matt Riddle is permanently selling on this show. Like, since Triple H took over, I don't think Matt Riddle has had a moment's peace. He's been always getting beat up, knocked down, dragged around, and I'm not saying that I have a problem with it. I'm just saying this is what has been occurring. This has been his booking since Triple H took over, is that he spent most of the time selling and being hurt or whatever. They did a hilarious video. It was Matt Riddle and Liv Morgan. They were playing Guess Who. Do you remember that old game, Guess Who? Like, Matt Riddle talks so entirely slow. Like, he just sounds like he's just high off promethazine all the time. Like, bro, does your person have an afro, bro? It's like, damn, it takes him 90 seconds to get through a sentence. And I know everybody saw that picture of his daughter throwing up gang signs, which was absolutely hilarious. I thought it was funny. A lot of people was taking it way too seriously. It's like, she's a white girl from like Las Vegas or something like that. She don't know what the hell she's doing with her fingers. I think it was the blood signature she was throwing up. It was hilarious. He thought nothing of it, so he posted it. She couldn't be no older than 12 or 13. So, it was a joke. But I know some people get real tight-assed about it. What's that she claiming, cuz? Where you from, cuz? Shut your ass. Anyway, is that it? Is that the entirety of the show? I think so. I think that's it. Oh, yeah. Shinsuke Nakamura was defeated by Bronson Reed because of Ricochet. I forgot about that. So, there we go. Shinsuke Nakamura terrible on the microphone due to language barrier. And of course, loses a match to Bronson Reed, who is not in the Money in the Bank, who they're probably going to backdoor into the Money in the Bank. As they're probably going to make it an even number of 8. They're probably going to say last chance battle royal, last chance fatal 4-way or something like that in order to get in. And then everybody's going to complain about, why don't they just call Triple H and get put in? Like, come on, because he's fucking Bronson Reed. He's lucky to have a job. He got fired last time, right? Why would he call Triple H and be like, put me in the Money in the Bank, mate? He's like, I'll put your ass in unemployment, mate, and call me with this shit. Wrestle who I tell you to wrestle. All right. The show was dreadful, as usual. This is just the nature of Monday Night Raw. The show was too long. There's far too many matches. Nothing really fully develops. The Ciampa reveal was pretty good. Very happy to have him back. Again, Ciampa was one of my favorite NXT guys. Just hated that he was having the same matches with the same people over and over again. Very glad to see him do something different. Hated it had to be The Miz, but it makes sense, at least storyline-wise, for it to be The Miz, to be the guy he made his comeback match against. Balor looked excellent in attacking Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins sold it very well. The Braun Breaker being the big threat now. Instead of, Rollins wrestling 2 people back-to-back, he's now got to wrestle Braun Breaker injured. And it's going to make him look strong when he eventually goes over. Hopefully he doesn't go over too strong, like he just stomps Braun's head in and that's it. Again, hopefully they do something smart where he wins via small package or, a roll up. There's something to be said by, doing the Bret Hart finishes. Not everybody needs to go out and win with their finish. There's something artful and artistic about winning via like victory roll or, a really well-crafted small package. And, like the Bryan Danielson finishes. That's what we need in the Seth Rollins Braun Breaker match. Don't get all these people to watch Braun Breaker, especially people who have never seen him before. And then the first time they see him, he's getting beat by Seth Rollins. At least make him look like a legit threat. And, of course, he needs to lose. But at least come up with a creative way for him to lose. Even though I'm pretty sure it's going to be Dragunov comes out of nowhere, distracts him, hits him in the nuts or something like that, and then he loses. Most of the other parts of the show are no good. Matt Riddle versus Gunther. That's going to be fine because, Riddle's going to take the chops. Gunther's going to take his share of the attacks too. Riddle is a heavy-handed guy. I remember he really got into it with Sheamus I don't know if it was months or years ago. They had a banger, Sheamus and Riddle, because Riddle likes to strike. Gunther likes to strike. So it's going to turn out very well. I just wish that they booked Riddle stronger, and he didn't lose so much. Same thing with Damian Priest. It would be nice if he didn't lose so much. But they actually course corrected when it comes to Rhea Ripley. She's now feuding with girls, which is great. So that works out. We'll see how we get to Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. We'll see how we get there. All right, what do you guys think of Monday Night Raw? I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings. Peace out.